I think it's cool that they integrated a smartphone shelf into the handlebars, but I guarantee that someone will forget their phone, leaving it strapped to a bike as they walk away.
Is it insensitive to start this video with an "I told you so"? It's been months now. If this was your phone, I hope you picked it up from the Olbrich Lost and Found. I suppose one lost phone isn't a bad rate in the grand scheme of things. In all the time I've been riding these bikes, that's the only one I've seen. Hello YouTube, my name is Sean. Last summer I made a video covering BCycle, Madison's bike share program. My timing couldn't have been better, as I got to witness firsthand the transition from the somewhat boring first generation of bikes to America's first electric bike share fleet. As soon as I got my hands on one, I was smitten. The power was undeniable, the speed effortless. Even the paint job was refreshing and modern. Right from that July launch, the new BCycle presented a lot to love. But now, it's year 2, and it's time to reevaluate. The bikes are back on the streets, and the cost of an annual membership is set to increase at the end of March. This gives everyone a few days to get a deal, if a membership is worth their while. The honeymoon phase is over. That shiny white paint is starting to fade. It's time to get real. What is BCycle electric like in the long term?
Here's your clickbait headline. These things have ruined regular pedaling for me. I've logged dozens of bike rides since the electric fleet launch. Maybe 2 of those were on my own bike. The instant, effortless power of an e-bike is addicting, and coming down off it can almost feel like a real withdrawal. After all this time, I still haven't gotten used to how these bikes feel with the electric boost off. As soon as you power down the motor, it's as if the pedals become drenched in molasses. The sensation is beyond the normal strain of pedaling. It genuinely feels like you're riding on flat tires. My contacts at BCycle have repeatedly insisted that the new bikes should feel identical to the old ones when the power is off, but I've never found that to be the case. The red bikes are gone forever, so I'll never be able to race the 2 models side by side. Still, I feel confident in saying there's drag somewhere in the drive system. If I can help it, I'll never ride a BCycle with the power off again. Thankfully, I shouldn't ever have to. I had my doubts when the electric bikes launched, but BCycle of Madison has really stepped up to the challenge of keeping the stations balanced and the batteries full. At the beginning of the rollout, it was hard to find a bike with even 50% battery, but now it's rare that I see one below 80. It's also worth mentioning that the BCycle app has improved noticeably in the last few months. The core functionality was already good, but it no longer logs me out of my account every time I close the app. Little things like that help make the system livable in the long term. Some issues are less fixable than app annoyances. In my first video, I mentioned the pedal's propensity to scrape the ground during hard turns. This isn't a thing that BCycle or Trek could easily correct, so it's been up to me to adjust. As irritated as I was at first, it wasn't hard to learn to keep my inside foot up while cornering. What's harder, though, has been remembering to bring a bike lock on rides. I now keep a lock in my car at all times, but I wish I didn't have to. There are services in other cities that got this right from the get-go. Until BCycle gets around to adding locks to the new bikes, I'm going to stick mostly to parking at stations. This limits me a little, but it doesn't mean I'm not having fun. I've made it my business to push these bikes to their limits, and that has been an absolute joy. I mentioned in my earlier review how thankful I am that rides were extended to 60 minutes, but that bears repeating. Increasing checkout time from 30 to 60 minutes is just as important an upgrade as going to electric assist. With all that extra time, you can take some truly great rides. In one 60-minute period, I got most of the way around the Lake Monona Loop, a distance of 11 miles. Okay, 11 miles in an hour isn't impressive. That one was more about the journey. But there is one record I believe I hold. Until I'm presented with further evidence, I believe I have achieved the fastest speed burst ever on a Madison BCycle. This is video evidence of me crossing 37 miles per hour while going downhill, a full 20 miles per hour beyond the boost cutoff. For legal reasons, I cannot challenge you to beat my score. I should warn you that BCycles were not designed for such speeds and that my doing this was incredibly stupid. However, if you already have video evidence of yourself going faster on a BCycle, I would like to see it. Again, do not do this. But if you already have, tweet the evidence to me, @Bullshawn. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to being responsible adults. For me, BCycle's most practical use has been not paying for parking. Downtown Madison has all kinds of great events and entertainment, but it's also one of the only places in the county where your car can cost money just to exist. For the past few months, I've taken to finding free parking near a BCycle station and riding in. Ever since I stopped using parking ramps, my membership has paid for itself. Any gimmicky new transportation could get my discount subscription for a summer. But it's that kind of practical, everyday use that will keep me renewing year after year. I don't even live in a place where I could bike to class, yet BCycle is still undoubtedly useful in my life.
At this point, it's up to you to decide whether you feel the same. The value is there, and the service should only improve over time. If you think Madison BCycle might be for you, now is an ideal time to buy in. They've already shown a commitment to improving, and there are signs that they'll make strides again this year. I've noticed at least one new station already where East Washington crosses the Yahara River, and the company has cryptically promised the rollout of an entirely new breed of docks. With the current ones aging and experiencing some reliability issues, this couldn't come at a better time. That's a lot of bright spots, but there's a catch. The annual membership price is going up. Without a discount, you now have to shell out $120 for a year's access to the service. Even with a student ID, you'll still pay $50. That's more than double what a membership cost 2 years ago, and though I'd argue you're getting more than double the value of the red bikes, why pay more when you don't have to? If you sign up before March ends, you'll be locked in at last year's rates. If any of this seems like a retread of my first video, it's only because my first positive impressions have been proven right. A BCycle membership is just as much a bargain for students of Madison College now as it was a year ago. As I publish this video, we're in unprecedented times. The 21st century's biggest pandemic has radically altered daily life. Most public places are closed, a last-ditch effort to slow the spread of a deadly virus. However, people are still encouraged to go outside to exercise, and BCycle is going to be one of my main ways of doing that. While I'm otherwise forced to stay inside, I can't think of a better way to stay in touch with my city. If for some reason you want more of me overanalyzing new modes of transportation, check out this column I wrote last fall. I examine how Razor is losing out in the new age of scooters, and it's the longest thing I've ever published in the newspaper. To read it, follow the link in the description below. If you want more videos, probably unrelated to this, subscribe. I'm Sean Bull. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.